Man, I just think Season of Discovery is such a goddamn compelling experience.
It's such a beautiful little testing ground.
This is going to sound unhinged, and it's also going to sound like an amazing way to get like more money out of less, but please don't kill me. Matt, I think they're going to kill me. Help. Okay, imagine if a new World of Warcraft expansion had its level cap go up by 2 or 3. Okay, basically imagine you did a Season of Discovery, but you went kind of more zone focused so that there's some sort of like end cap at the end of the zone, and then the expansion would basically have a longer period up until whenever you actually hit max level, but then you kind of do Season of Discovery shit at the end of like every zone. There's a way in which that would probably extract far more value out of the content that they've made, because like right now the way that content is played is it's immediately trivial. Everybody power levels through it, and then it's just endgame, circles forever, and then doing stuff in the world is just zoom, zoom, zoom collectibles. But also that would be a way for Blizzard to just be like, hey, we're going to drip feed it's, you could say it's drip feeding the expansion, but one of the things you found here is, turns out if you drip feed people Classic, but then actually do cool shit as you drip feed it to them, they actually end up having more fun.
Michael has invented time gating an expansion.
Yeah. I said they'd be angry, Matt. Again, this is a thought experiment, not something I'm advocating for, to be clear.
I think I would immediately advocate for that based off Season of Discovery alone, right? Based off Season of Discovery. Isn't that basically TBC's achievements? Kind of, yeah. The only problem there is it's the same thing as it's a reframing of there is content for you, but we're not letting you have it yet, which is different to content not being ready. And I would maybe like to see this coming after.
I'm intrigued and upset.
Perfect.
10 out of 10, me too.
Yeah, I would love to see this happen because you need it would have to come after The Last Titan, right?
If you want to play World of Warcraft, The War Within, or World of Warcraft, The War Within Season of Discovery.
Just like to play World of Warcraft and then a few months later you get to play World of Warcraft War. And then a few months later you get to play World of Warcraft Within. There you go. So that's kind of the...
That'll be a problem for Midnight.
Yeah, of course. Would you like to play World of Warcraft mid?
Oh no. I cannot wait for that.
That'd be fun. Everyone's got to call mid.
Ian, please make a joke about mid at BlizzCon, please.
And definitely, if you get ahead of people and start calling them, like, release official ways to describe the shortenings of things. So you should release things saying like WoW TWW and WoW MN, because if you let people say WoW mid, that is nominative determinism. That is, people will see the name and they'll go, must be mid. And that sounds stupid, but it's also, that happens. It needs to be WoW MN or WoW MDN, has to be. It can't just be mid. It can't.
Wow.
That'll kill the game.
Night.
Yeah. But I kind of think there's certainly something to be said with that idea. That idea
I
of
say
just
it as a
what
thought
if,
experiment.
yeah, what if we have the expansion happen as it does, kind of, but you're not max level immediately.
It would almost be putting like, I mean, you would have to change your content because you need essentially micro raids. You need micro raids so that, like, imagine, at the end of the Waking Shore, there's like some big showdown and it ends up being like a raid style thing. And then, everybody kind of like maximizes that experience, and then you kind of end up moving quite swiftly then onto the next thing, like maybe every month or something. Again, I'm not advocating for this. I keep on having to say, I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying that, do you ever have this sense with WoW that they make all of these like big, beautiful zones and, all of this content, but you blast through, like, think about the amount of time that people spend playing a WoW expansion, okay? Think about how much of that is just in the core leveling up experience. And then think about, how much, literally money did Blizzard spend on what players actually do?
Yeah, there's almost like a conversation to be had. What actually is a expansion?
Yeah, there is.
Why did we get the Dragon Isles, and then we get a wee piddly bit of Zaralak, and then a wee piddly bit of Emeritus? I know, like, I know they're big enough, like, but it definitely feels like we're getting this, and then this, and then this. But the period of time we have this is really short, so it doesn't feel like this in terms of size and stuff.
Yeah,
so
and it's also, it doesn't feel
feel
complete in some ways as well.
Yeah, so why did we not get 2 zones instead of 4? And then just get another 2 zones a bit later?
Yeah, I suppose it's almost advocating for, an expansion being like 2 zones, 2 zones, 2 zones, 2. Yeah, basically, it would be changing up what a patch is, but also changing up what launch day is. And I think that ultimately would be the thing that would do the damage. Whereas like Season of Discovery, it is fundamentally different because it's a thing that already exists.
And also Season of Discovery is a lot of time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's... Well, I don't think I could advocate for it. I'll change my mind.
Oh yeah, I'm not advocate. As I have repeatedly said, this is just a thought experiment of like... there are lessons to be learned, I think, from how Season of Discovery... just what Season of Discovery has done, how it's changed how people approach content, and how, like, you think of even Black Fathom Deeps and all of that stuff, and Ashen Vale as this very quick transitory experience, whereas it turns out if you actually make that be endgame for a few months and make that dungeon be a raid, then suddenly, like, oh shit, look at this, people are playing it like it's endgame WoW, and they're getting so much more out of those zones. I just think that's a really interesting thought experiment.
It feels like there's too much effort and time and dev time wasted on the zones of an expansion.
Yeah, that you blast through in 10 hours. And I guess I bring that up because... why do I bring that up?
It would also make it more interesting if you rely on levels instead of the gear score, especially when you get into Fated or at the end of the season. You kind of go, here's the max level version of Vault of the Incarnates instead of the level,
Well, people... people used to talk about like what the WoW experience was and how it's changed over time and how to them it feels less meaningful.
Yeah, now you log in, spend 30 quid a transmog, put in your characters, log back out.
Oh boy. It's not spoken from experience.
That's spoken from experience.
Which
is only because
we took a few photos in the middle.
Yeah, we had people didn't show up for raids, so I went and played Tekkady instead.
Yes. I just bring that up because people talked about how older versions of WoW were more about the journey rather than just immediately going to endgame.
Yeah, and Season of Discovery very much feels like the journey. Because the endgame isn't the end of the journey, it's just a stop on the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like a whole framing thing that's wild, but it works.
Yeah, so that's just how I think about it. I don't know. It is what it is. I just say that as a thought experiment. I don't know. It feels like, you like... lay out the case for some absolutely awful thing, and then your defense is, it's just a thought experiment, bro. It's like, remember, it's just a prank, bro, on YouTube. Got that, you know what, we're probably at the stage now where that, like, dates us.
It probably does. It probably does.
Back in my day, I remember Spider-Man and Elsa.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh,
that was the absolute day of YouTube.